Adesanya, Chris Weidman, it seems like one that just won't go away, right? I mean, this is how fights start. I'm not ready to predict for you that we're going to see that, but I'm not ready to tell you that we're not going to see that. I mean, let's back the tape up because in large part, we had something to do with this, right? We had Weidman on the show. We're asking him what he's up to. We're talking about Wonder Boy. He broke some news that Wonder Boy and Leon were going to fight and just having some fun catching up. And then Weidman says, you know what? I'm a really tough matchup for Adesanya. And you start thinking about, yeah, you are. Matchup and stylistically, you are. Now, if you're going to fight Adesanya, the number one thing you need, it's not a ranking. It's not a mandate of the masses. It's not Dana White to get excited. For any other athlete, it's those three things. Not with Adesanya. The number one thing that you need is to have Izzy's interest. If Izzy finds you interesting, you're going to get a fight with Izzy. It's just a little bit of a different spot. And he's going to fight who he wants to fight when he wants to fight them. It's just the way that it is. And I do think that Izzy would find Weidman interesting only because Weidman represents a different era and he's a world champion. There's just not a lot of former world champions on the roster anywhere. I think that Izzy might see something there. Now, hold that thought. Izzy dismissed the fight, but that's how it's. Izzy's now out there talking about Weidman. Weidman's out there talking about Izzy. Weidman has nobody to fight. Izzy has nobody on the fight. It's one of those things. And Izzy believes, I think as we do, that Cannonier is next. Cannonier's booked. Oh, by the way, he's an underdog, according to the line in Vegas. Oh, by the way, it's against Robert Whittaker. Nobody beats Robert Whittaker. It's one of those things where, can you hold out? Can you wait that long? What if there's an injury in the fight? It's just one of those things where the Weidman, Izzy, yeah, maybe we're a little light on the idea right now, but it's an idea for sure. And I do think that Weidman would get Izzy's interest. That's just my own prediction. Now, Izzy won't stop on Jon Jones. And that really looks like the fight to make. If we're going to do a fight, we're going to have some fun. If we're going to see some competitiveness, if we're going to satisfy the wants of both guys, Izzy wants to fight Jon Jones because he doesn't like him. He wants to fight guys he doesn't like. There's no championship on the line. Make no mistake. Right, when a guy really wants to be a world champion, but then he uses a guise of something. We see that all the time. That's okay. Fair play. That's just not what's happening here. Izzy doesn't like Jon Jones. Izzy wants to fight Jon Jones. Doesn't care about the weight class. Doesn't care about belts to anything. Jon Jones wants a big payday. That's a big payday. I mean, in all fairness, that's one you could go back and you could get Dana's attention and go, sure, you want to talk? That's a super fight. That's a legit super fight. Let's talk. And it just seems as that now Dana's gone a step further. Dana was doing press. I think it was out on Fight Island. Pre-fight press. Someone asked him this question. Who the hell asked him this question? Somebody, I think it was John Morgan. And Dana said, and I quote, Izzy versus Jon, that's the fight to make. Now, that's interesting for a number of reasons. First off, top fight anybody wants to see, forget it. You guys pick the weight. You figure all that stuff out. Let's go do this. But it also changes things for Jon in the future. Right? I mean, if Jon goes down, we're getting 205. Good guess on what the weight would be. Okay, fine. Is Jon now back at 205? If Jon's back at 205, then all of a sudden you start talking about Blachowicz, but you also stop talking about Stipe. You stop talking about Ngannou. I'm fine with all of these things. We can go in any direction. But Jon Jones versus Adesanya right now is the time, and right now is very interesting.